rolling? Alright, cool. So, in this video, you guys are gonna see my official field studies placement at the Grand River Hospital. I was at Grand River Hospital, Kitchener in Canada for a internship placement for 4 weeks, and I just want to offer you guys to go through my journey and see all that I've learned and all that I've accomplished as a student in this wonderful experience. So just gonna walk you guys through what the building looked like, what the different floors were, and from then onwards we can dissect some of the cool projects that I worked on. You guys are gonna love it. And concluding the video, there's gonna be a quick piece of advice coming from two highly reputable entities: a security analyst, senior security analyst, and a CISO. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, let's get right in. Okay, so here we are, guys. This is the main entrance, and enjoy the raw clip. In the door. Alright. We don't get anybody in our way. Okay, so here are all the floors. So we have floor 2, that's really where all the conferences and these kind of things take place. Floor 3 is IT. So as you noticed, this was a busy floor. It's the lobby, so I had to cut it off. But floor 3 was the IT hub of Grand River Hospital. So that's where you'll see all the rooms of IT, information, IS, information security, networking, desktops, like hardware, everything. Like every technical dudes reside in floor 3. Moving on, floor 4. This is where you are on this floor. So primarily we had organizational development, training, and this kind of stuff, finance, HR. And floor 5 was diabetic. I haven't really been here, but apparently it's mainly for nutrition, and some they have some clinics and stuff like that. And floor 6 contained risk management, decision support, privacy, and an infection clinic as well. Alright, cool. So let's get to the bread and butter of my placement. So DDI. Now DDI is a security application that GRH to monitor activities that are happening within the network. So as you can see in the screenshot, we have what is called point of entry and what is called lateral movement. So lateral movement is traffic that is going laterally, meaning side to side between the network. So this is internal, and then point of entry is all of the external traffic that is going between GRH and the other end. So with this tool, I was pretty much coming in every single day, and this is very typical. You come in every single day as a security analyst. You come in, open DDI, and you just watch. You watch what happened in the past 24 hours. You watch what kind of movement is taking place, and you can actually see how Trend Micro's other product by the name of Office Scan is dealing with these threats. So as you can see, we have email threats, we have ransomwares, we have potential risks. We have all these kind of categories that as a security analyst you got to keep your eye on. Okie dokie, moving on. So we have something that is known as vulnerability testing, vulnerability analysis, passive testing. You can whatever name you want to give it. This is part of a TRA. So on one side, on the privacy end, we have what is known as a PIA, or Privacy Impact Assessment. And then here on the security side, we have something which is called a Threat Risk Assessment. So one deals with privacy, one deals with threats, right? But really, they're all part of whenever there's any new implementation. So long story short, if we follow along these lovely screenshots that I've managed to find, we sign in here, get a username and password, and then this screen comes up.
right? So this is a policy library. So these are predefined policies that Nessus provides. You need to know how to create a new policy um, for your organization specific to what you need. And once that's done, you run whichever policy you want against the IP that the software company gives you. Then you are able to look up the vulnerabilities, the high one, the medium one, the low one, what have you. Now, why are we doing this? It can be we're just doing it because we want to have some fun, just trying to run some enterprise network intrusion prevention softwares against our system. Hospitals have started doing the TRA mainly because we have to document. So an auditor might come in and might find that I don't know, we're running like Java from Oracle's like version 8 or version 7. 8 is the new one, and we're incompatible, and we can see in these vulnerabilities it shows up. Let's say I know you can't see it here, but let's imagine that we have a vulnerability of Java that it's not compatible and it's on critical, right? Because we're leaving a backdoor for the exploiter to come in and create a hole and get in through the back door and do whatever he has to do. But what if this issue cannot be remediated? What if there is the vendor's application only runs on Oracle Java 7? It's not compatible with 8. So in this case, we have to document it and we put it as risk accepted, right? We accept the risk. We took these steps to remediate the risk, and the risk is high, low, medium. You put that on there, and then you have an impact. So high, risk, low. So this is what's called due care and due diligence.
All right, so the main premise behind disabling desktop services was one key thing, and that is Windows by default has some completely, totally unnecessary, useless services that they turn it on. Like they're by default they're on. This may be, and you don't know these at all. But some only a person like a, um, you know, a chief information security officer or some whoever is designated to this has to look up these standards. So where are these standards coming from? These standards come from two main entities. All right, cool. So right, so we were talking about desktop hardening standards earlier. The clip got cut off, so I'm gonna take it off from here. Essentially, the goal or the main reason and the thought behind this is that we're having, at least in a hospital, like any company for that matter, we have employees that are accessing your your data, right? We have your data is vulnerable, to say the least. Like, and we need to. It is in our best interest to ensure that we are following the data loss prevention's DLP best practices, and we don't want any garbage happening. USB floppy disks back in the day, people putting in. That's why people now it's getting more and more like you can't put your USBs, and because DLP is very big now. Um, but at any rate, Windows has services, quote unquote, unnecessary services that nobody needs them. You don't need them to do your work, right? So, and if we know anything, there is a principle of least privilege. So, if you only get the privileges you need them, right? Only if you need them. So, a need to know basis, right? So, CIS. Now, these are two big names that I think you really benefit in terms of hardening standards. CIS, Center of Information Security, and the NIST. NIST stands for National Institute Standard Technology, something like that. But there are two American companies that provide benchmarks for desktops, mobiles, basically all operating systems you can think of, right? And you go to their website, you download. It's like a 1,000-page PDF, and then you look through it. You look through it. What kind of there's a chapter by the name of services, and there's a chapter by the name by name of firewall. So you know, firewall is in place. Basically, it's a basically think of it as a blueprint to securing your desktop to the most optimally. Now, I know of NIST being an American company. Like, these guys have their budgets. Their budget is so insane, like a $1 billion, if I'm not mistaken, $1 billion in cybersecurity, because that's what they deal in. $1 billion, guys. Like, that is mind-boggling, man. When I hear it, like, and just imagine the kind of research they do, and the budget being just so damn high, you know. So you best believe that we should have uh, a very robust standard set in place. So in the event of a breach response, or sorry, in the event of an incident, you know, we have the freaking measures set in place. We need to have. We can't just um, you know, let the gods of the skies just to magically have things flow perfectly well. So that's the main reason. Let's watch how what was in the document, and yeah.
So as you can see, a hardening process basically is configuring an OS securely, right? OS meaning a desktop, whichever it may be, in our case, Windows. We're trying to secure it in a manner that we are removing unnecessary applications and services that are running. This is done to minimize a computer OS's exposure to threats and mitigate possible risk. As you remember, I was talking a few minutes earlier that when a vulnerability occurs in a system, right? And these are what we're referring to as known vulnerabilities. So something we can find in a passive test like Nessus. There we create what's known as holes or backdoors in the system that an exploiter can come in through and, you know, do their thing, install their malicious code, whatever you want to call it, right? Basically, we are compromising our CIA in simplest terms, right? Which we don't want to do. So hardening process takes care of that. Okay, a hardening standard creates less room for vulnerabilities, less room for exploiters to come in and take advantage of that weakness, aka vulnerability. And full FYI, this advice is coming from a senior security analyst, corporate information security officer at Grand River Hospital. Two different people working in the same team, right? We need to. So this is what I got, right? Do not look at the salary of a network information security analyst, because the moment you do that is the moment you lose. You need to be looking at network information security from a networking perspective. You need to have a networking background. And I'm saying this with a place of humbleness. After getting my own reality check, I was fascinated by technology, right? Fascinated. That's not enough. I realized very quickly you need to be not just say, oh, I'm a tech person. You need to be in full terms with networking architecture. You need to be in full terms, or at least trying, because we're in our second year. You need to be trying to know what is SSH, what is the OSI model that we learned in Information Systems 2. You need to know what is a packet. How does a packet move across a network? What is DMZ? What is RJ45? What is Ethernet? All these terms you need to know, because that's the terminology used here in day-to-day activities every single day. So if you do not know these, there'll be a huge gap that you just wouldn't be able to fill up. And that's where you'll be spinning wheels and be like, oh man, I don't understand IS. But in reality, you don't understand networking, which is just one step lower. So that's all. I'm going to keep this short. Let's just end this by saying thank you to Grand River Hospital, to Conestoga College, to have this amazing relationship that has led us students to enjoy such a rich experience.